A lot can happen in 5 years. But it wasn't always like this.
I made a vow to never put my child through daycare. I know there's got to be a way.
If you want something bad enough, you have to go after it. Ryan?
I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Hannah.
And we're the Unstoppable Family.
You just can't stop it. Dun, 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 dun.
Dad is even funnier than you.
He's a pretty funny cat. Dog. Cat dog.
Who would expect a girl that grew up in Michigan and a guy that grew up in Illinois would meet surfing in San Diego and then be together ever since? Welcome to Puerto de la Cruz from the Canary Islands.
Machu Picchu on 4th of July.
Cusco, Peru.
Rio de Janeiro.
Morocco! And I got my Moroccan beard. Driving through Utah. Florida. Lake Tahoe.
Here we are in the wilderness. This is literally our front yard. Not too shabby of a view.
Looks like where I'm gonna call my home break, at least till the end of the year. Adios, amigos!
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Hannah.
I love you.
Reflections of 39 years on this beautiful planet. Yes, it's my birthday. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy New Year!
I haven't skied since I've been 12.
When you know you have an expiration date on your life, you know, what kind of decisions are you gonna make?
With Swano with his new haircut. He doesn't look like a dirty hippie anymore. And don't forget what independence means. It means freedom. Go out and do something wild and crazy. So from the Unstoppable family,
It's good. Life is good. Go out, be unstoppable, learn Spanish, get a map, and remember your board shorts. From rock bottom financially and emotionally,
to traveling the world and giving our daughter education of a lifetime.
still, I feel that our journey has just begun. Wait till you see what's next.
What if you knew what your expiration date? Unstoppable Men, episode 1. So I'm sharing this with you. That video, I had I've had this calling for quite some time of having a men's group and being around powerful men and leading, but not leading in the front, but by the side. And it's been this calling for the last probably 5 to 6 years. And this, what if you knew your expiration date, which you saw in the video? This is a video that our friend Dan, who we're actually living with here in Los Angeles, that was the first story video, documentary kind of style teaser that he shot 13 years ago. And as you can see in the video, Hanalei, she was just 5 years old, and we had just lost everything financially back in 2008 through a bad real estate deal, from going from the highest to the highs to the lowest of the low. And at that moment, there was a thing to where my wife, she looked at me and she said, I vowed never to put my daughter in daycare. And I looked at her and I said, we're never guaranteed another day in our life. And we made a decision on June 5th, 2008, with a 1-year-old baby, Hanalei, who's now turning 18 in less than 1 week, that we're never guaranteed another day in our life. let's go live life now. And we sold all the rest of our stuff. We were already working online in the internet world. And there was this one idea that popped into my head that changed my life forever. There's many of these decisions, but it was the 4-hour work week. And Tim Ferriss read it about 20 years ago. And there's this thing about the semi-retirement, about being able to live anywhere you want to live, doing the things you want to do, and you can do it for a fraction of the price. And when you're losing everything, going from top to freaking lawyers and lawsuits, and you think you're in the worst spot, it's like, what do we want to really do? Is it the possessions or the experiences that you want to have in life? And I'm going to share one more thing, and then I'm going to bring out my good friend Horacio, who was actually at this event that we did in Miami, where I got to meet Dan. And that video that you just watched was all shot in there. So I'm bringing it full circle. But it was at this moment to where we made that decision. And what happened was when we made this announcement that we're getting rid of, we had people, this is in the beginning stages of Facebook and YouTube. Instagram wasn't even thought of yet, or probably thought of, but it was still like about 5 years from it. People are like, what are you doing to your baby? Your daughter's going to be broken. She's not going to have friends. She's not this, schooling, all this projections. And I was like, oh my God, I never got so much hate in my life. And what I realized was that people are going to project things onto you because they're unwilling to do it. And what I said to myself and my wife, Rhonda, I was like, well, what if? We can always course correct. And that's the thing of taking the first step. I've been having this moment where I'm shooting this. I put the StreamYard together. I talked to Horacio just 3 days ago. I've been putting off this calling from God of like, you must lead. And it was during COVID to where I got very focused on, if shit happens, I got to be the strongest man to take care of my family, take care of myself. And if I'm a bag of bones and saying that I'm too old for shit, then I might as well just bury myself. And it was from this realization, there comes times in life where we make excuses to always say next week, tomorrow, next week, next year. And lo and behold, you're 50 years old like I am. And you keep on pushing it off and you're like, where did time go? Horacio, who I'm going to bring on here in just a second, he was at this event 13 years ago, and it was because I put out a video. And I think it was probably like a perfect day. He read something, but he was like, he had this calling. And I think that we all have this calling to share our story, because your story matters. And if I had not put out these videos or this ad, he would have never responded to it. And we would not have had this relationship. He came out and visited us over these next 2 years. And this Monday through Wednesday, just short trip. And I was sharing with them some deep stuff about, I've been putting off this creating a men's group because there's always something. I said, hey, Friday, let's just come on and we're going to I don't care what it is, but let's just talk fucking truth. Let's just talk about what it is by living by the core with your body, your being, your balance, and your business. Talk about men with two different families. And where it goes, I don't know. But I'm going to bring out Horacio, my man. And this is good. And this Unstoppable, I'm going to add him to the stage. It's my first time. Horacio, my man, welcome. And I want to just say that this guy, we trained like a beast when he was here. When we met him, I was driving. He answered one of my ads on Facebook. It's from Jabril. Dan, we hadn't met Dan yet. And I don't know, or actually we had, but the thing was, he wanted something different. But if I did not put that one thing out, just like this video, there may be nobody on this or nobody watches it, but there might be someone that it just might strike a chord. And the book of the Tao says, a journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first step. and I made a declaration with Horacio before he was leaving on Wednesday. We're going to start Unstoppable Men, men's group, where people can come and really share real world experiences. And I've been part of Warrior. I've gotten the tools. It's changed my life. And I'm like, we have to start this, because right now, with, from the who's president of what's happening in the world, banking, this, man, we are isolated and we need to come together. So Horacio from Austin, Texas, the man, the myth, the OG, as we call it, back from the Unstoppable Masterminds, I want to welcome you out and say, it's good to have you as a brother, my man.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'm honored to be here, Brian. And you have always, I know you say like you're starting this movement, that you've been having this calling, but in reality, you've been doing it for a long time. I mean, that's how I found you. I found you because I was looking to, couldn't quite point my finger on it, but I knew that I needed to make some changes. I needed to level up. I needed to change professionally. I needed to change industries. I needed to expand what I was reading, what I was putting in my head, and that came at the perfect time. It was July of 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want me to just dive straight into it.
Keep on going, because this is the key thing of what we're doing. It's the connection of why, like, one little thing, no matter how automated we get, how much AI, nothing can separate the personal connection, man. And I want you to keep on going, because this is and that video that was shot the exact same time while you were there. And for the people that lives it's touched, you being one of them, now I consider you part of the family. And along with Rhonda and Hanalei and you and your family, we went and visited you. But this is the things that freaking matter, is the connection.
Absolutely. I think if anything, it's even, becomes more and more important to have these connections, and they're more and more valuable as we have all these, we have AI and social media and all these things that we can hide behind. I think, but the only way you're going to feel that, and the only way you're going to realize it yourself, is by actually doing it. And then you're going to be like, oh man, I'm glad I did that. And I think that's, kind of starting out where you and I connected. It was through a Facebook ad. It was through some quotes from one of the authors that we both followed, Travel, Freedom. But that was sort of the hook to me, was the travel and the freedom. Yeah. So that's what I came here. That's why I came here. And then I stayed for the personal growth. That's kind of what, as I started realizing what I had been missing. I guess I was in my late 30s, 37, 38, something like that, when we first connected. And you just called me right away. And, you were in a business, but it was more the human being that I was trying to connect with. Oh. We connected, we started working together, and you and Rhonda. So you were already leading men in sort of like, I don't want to say an indirect way, but because it was pretty direct, but it wasn't aimed at men, but you were bringing everybody together. And, we got in, as we started doing business together, like, we're going to have this event and you got to show up. I'm like, why do we really? I thought this was online. It's like, well, this is the backbone, is the face-to-face. So you convinced me to show up to Orlando in October of 2012. And it was incredible. We connected with people from all over the world, all over the country, and some from all over the world. Then we did it again in January in Miami, January of the next year. And every 3 or 4 months we were meeting, and we were just growing and growing together. We were reading personal growth. We're working on our spirituality. We're working on our business, and everything was getting better. Even with the different challenges that were coming in my life. I too, prior to connecting with you, had a run with real estate, but more on the brokerage side, not on the investor side. And I also had lost my ass completely. Yeah. Went big, went all in. Part of that reason is because I had a lottery mentality. Actually, it was my fault. I know it was my fault. I went all in on, without building, continuing my business on the side. I invested everything I could. financially and time wise, and it just didn't work out. So I was also starting over in real estate. I was getting back on my feet, but I didn't want to do it anymore, and that's kind of where I found you,
You
and
know,
it opened up my horizons.
and I want to hit this one point. Our biggest our messes are our messages, and some of like the worst things in your life can turn out to be your biggest assets. And for myself, like so like that was a turning point where like there needs to be some switch, and a lot of times we do it. And I want to look at this as really setting a framework, because the business, that's just like, okay, I need to make money, I need to do that, but that's just only one pillar in it. You have to have your body. Like, for instance, you're 49, I'm 50, and you work out, you train, that's part of who you are. We had some incredible workouts over here. And like, I want to just give you this thing. We met with somebody, big time, has a big time company. And I actually knew it because I use his software. And Dan actually gave him my Instagram, and he comes straight up. He goes, and he's twice the size of me. And he goes, you're 50 years old and you've done 291 pounds. He goes, how the hell do you do it? And he's like twice the size of me. He's like in his young 30s. Where I'm sharing this is that you have to have all four core areas, taking care of your body, man. So I want to bring this into when we're creating the story. This is, we're wrapping this around by living a core four with the body here. The business, that's the easy one, because if you're like, you got to make the money, right? But if you don't have your body and taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to also take care of your family. You're a family man, a wife of how long?
22 years.
Cool. I'm on 27 years this May, and you have kids, and that's one of the things, because if you don't have the family right, all the other shit's not working. And then it's the last piece of the core four is having that connection, God, spirituality, call it whatever you want. But that's where we're bringing it in, and why we're aligned is we're not just going to say, oh, it's just this business. We're hitting all four of these core fours every single day.
That's right.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. Like I love Tai Lopez's sort of four pillars: health, wealth, love, and happiness. I mean, it's just one way of encapsulating everything. You want health, you want to be strong. Wealth, obviously, you need some sort of level of comfort so you can provide for your family and feel good and not worry about those basic things. Love, you want relationships that includes your spouse, your partner, your kids, your friendships. And then happiness is, I believe, you don't need to chase that. You do the first three and you have that happiness. And happiness sounds a bit shallow. I would say more like joy, contentment, meaning that comes from those three. So that happiness doesn't have to be, oh, it's happy, it's all the time. No, it's meaning, it's growth during challenging times. If we can work on those three, work on our bodies, our minds, our spirituality, our business, so we can take care of ourselves, take care of our families, because let's be real, like that, if you don't have that part, it's not complete. But like you said, it's just one of the pillars. So we want it all.
Yeah. And you're going through a transition again right now. Share about that if you don't mind, because now you're declaring, because you're stepping back out, like playing a little safe, and now it's like, hey, and it's, what do you truly want, right? And I gotta, before you do this, I've been putting this off on making excuses for the last 5-6 years of like, where it's like, just take the first step. It rots, and it's this deep fucking, like, I feel like I'm in a prison. I'm waking up with so much anxiety. I'm like going, because you're not doing the shit that fucking God's calling, and call it whatever you be, but it's like going, just take the first fucking step. And you're taking a different step, and you kind of like went back here, and now you're like, nope, this is where I want to go. Share that, because a lot of people here, they're making transitions. We're all in transitions. Change is what's happening. And like, I've made a lot of dumb decisions. Like, even back when we lost everything in 07, 08, we lost it again in 12. Then we rebound, and then we've made a lot, and then we've lost. But man, the thing is, money is energy, and it comes and goes. But also, when you're in a prison, you can be making money, but you can be a slave. And that's where what I was feeling from you and how you're making this new decision in your life and moving forward. And I'm like, fucking yeah. And you know what? Let's fucking get back together.
Yeah.
Having our men's. And this is the first step right here.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I'll just give you a quick summary of what I was working on my digital marketing agency, and it was pretty stable up until January, February of 24 of last year. And it was even up to then. And I got an offer from my old boss from the last job that I had in 2001, because I'd been on my own for a long time. And it was a very good offer for basically to run the marketing company of a fintech department of a fintech company. And I knew that it wasn't my thing. I wasn't looking for a job, but it was a great opportunity. I've got responsibilities at home, and I had sort of like let my agency sort of go on cruise control. And I said, you know what? I've been a bit complacent, and if my clients leave, I'd be in a tough spot. I'd be foolish not to take this opportunity. So let me just take it. Let me just, even after 17 years of not being in corporate America or getting a paycheck, I did it. I was well paid, well taken care of, well respected in the company. But even then,
but
every single morning, because I had to go into the office Monday through Thursday. Every single morning, as I was going through the staircase, because I would take the stairs. Let me back up. Even driving to work, this is I forgot to tell you this, Brian. I wanted to postpone arriving so much that when I would see a yellow light when I was driving, I would purposely stop so I could listen to my YouTube videos. I watch a lot of financial news because I like trading, and I use economics and crypto and Bitcoin and all that stuff. So like I was listening to my shows in the morning, and I would hit the yellow light. I was like, I don't even want to arrive to the office. And then as I would pull into the parking garage, I would start feeling that knot in my stomach. Now, again, I'm going into a place where I'm well paid, well respected, well treated. Like
it's American dream, dude.
Dude, it is.
It's
like
American
putting
dream.
away, maxing out the 401k. You're putting money aside. And then I would get out of the car, and as we're going up the staircase, because I would take the stairs, it was that knot in my stomach, like, here we go again. Like using all my personal growth stuff just to walk in, right? And so after a year of doing that, I was like, that's enough. I committed to a year. I wanted to do them right, for trusting in me and treating me well, because it was the founders of the company that founded the company 25 years ago that I knew when we were in our early 20s. So I have a personal relationship with them. It's like, I've got to give them a year, and just turned a year. And I just put in my notice, knowing that now going back into the unknown, we got to, boost up the agency again, but knowing that it's going to be all right. I think as you have these events in your life, there are two things happen. Your risk tolerance, or at least my risk tolerance, goes up. Your skill level goes up, and also gives you that confidence that you can rebuild it. And you also realize that the time that you have, hopefully I'll live a healthy life to over 100 years old. Maybe I will, but maybe I won't. And
we're never guaranteed another fucking day, bro.
What if, man? I would be
never guaranteed.
I was telling my wife when she was like, "Are you sure you want to leave it?" And I said, "You know what? If I die tomorrow, I'd be really pissed off at myself that I spent the last year in this place, in this state."
Yeah.
Like to where I was only enjoying the weekend and a couple of hours at night. It's like, that's not, it is not, I would rather hustle, wake up at 4 a.m., do my work. I am willing to do that. I know that about myself. And when we get that feeling, that's God, the universe, yourself, your higher self, telling you that that's where you need to be. Sure, there's going to be tweaks along the way. There's going to be challenges along the way, but you're going to have to pick your hard. You want your hard where you don't want to drive and you don't want to go up the staircase and makes you sick? Or do you want the hard of like a little bit of uncertainty, having to pick up the phone, having to sell, having to pick up skills constantly improve? I'd rather take that one. Yeah. It's a lot more gratifying to me, but you have to know that, and you have to be confident in yourself that it's going to be all right. It's going to work out.
But and here's one of the things is when you're working for that, and this is not against corporate. I worked corporate for 10 years. I was well respected, high end. I was selling fucking Elon Musk actuators on SpaceX before there was such a thing.
Yep.
And It was well respected, 6-figure plus car, everything. And man, I want to have this, like, this was the aha moment. Was I walked into his Anaheim Convention Center right next to Disneyland. I'm getting everything paid for. I went and surfed before, like when I'm going from, I'm like, I had the easiest fucking job. And I remember walking through this convention center, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was like probably 9 a.m. The convention just opened, and I wanted to get there early and stuff. And I saw this guy just slumping over, and I could tell, and I'm in my like mid 20s, and I could tell that he's probably like mid 30s, upper 30s, and he was just fucking drained. I never had a conversation with them, but what I was reading was this guy has the American dream, wife, 2 kids, picket fence, 4-bedroom house in the suburbs of Orange County or San Diego, and he fucking hates his life. And I didn't know what to do, but that stuck with me to where I'm like, that's going to be me. That'll be me. And the thing is, I'm living a cool thing, but it wasn't until, and it's like, I got to appreciate, and this is why strong men have to have strong women. And I'm not talking about physically, but man, there's nothing that can take you down harder than your relationship. And if you don't have that, and it's like, I've been together, it's coming up on 27 years next month with my wife. And I'm only 50 years old, so over half my life. But having that one piece, we're colliding more than we ever have. But when I mean we're colliding, she's pushing me and I'm pushing her. And we can always do fucking better. And for you, it's easy to hide in corporate. It's easy to be complacent that you're saying, it's like, I just do it, show up and do this. When you put yourself out there, you have to fucking show up. You have to be that example. And what I've been doing on putting this call off, this first one, and it was just like last night, I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? I told Harasi I'm going to do it. Ron is like, get StreamYard. And so I'm like putting it together. I'm like, don't we have another account? Like, fuck. But everything's going to be right if you just take the action. And where is this going to go? I really freaking don't know. But it's like you have to take the first step, just like you're taking that first step. And it's hard and it's scary, and people will ridicule you and make fun of them. Like, why are you doing this? But otherwise, it's that every single day walking up the stairs and your heart is freaking just clenching, and you can feel it. I can see it, like the same with me. And I've had to make some hard decisions to where I'm heading back to Bali. My wife and my daughter decided to like, we're going to live in the USA. They're like, you coming? And I said, no. I'm like, I'll spend half the time here, half the time back, because I live in Bali. I got projects there, and I'm a fucking surfer. And LA has surf, but it sucks compared to there. And it's like, I have to go with my own heart. And it was probably one of the toughest decisions that we had to make on being able to be separate on the opposite sides of the world. But if I don't do that, I'm going to have that thing of anxiety and that prison. Like, and even right now, putting ourselves out there, there's going to be some crazy times ahead. You thought COVID was crazy. There's going to be like a COVID 2.0, and who knows what it's going to be. But this was the realization that I was going through it. Shit can change just like that. And it's not just us as men being, and it's, when I'm saying men, being strong father figures, husbands, support systems, but also being able to connect together. Like, I'm with you, and I have a lot of brothers, and we're all on different islands. And what happens, we like, how are you? I'm doing great. And we're fucking liars. We're liars.
That's right.
And that's what it's like. It's like, are you really great? And this is where the reality starts to come in. It's like, are you living? Because if you're not fucking living, you're dying. And do I want to get up? And I'm just going to go on a little rant here. It's like, when I wake up, I was so filled with anxiety this morning of like, oh my God, I got to do this call with Horacio. Like, I'm like, dude, actually, I'm just talking to my buddy. It's like, it's pretty easy, brother. But I'm like, I got to work out before this. I got to do this. I'm going to read my Bible. I started reading who knew, and this is not about Bible, but it's like I just started reading it 6 months ago. And what's crazy, I was actually on the 10 Commandments today with Moses, talking about going up for 40 days to Mount Sinai, and he's doing the work, and he's fucking fasting for 40 days. And I always do a Bible stack after. It's like, I feel like this is the same position of like, he had to take the first steps. Did he know what was going to happen? No. And even just putting ourselves out there, and it's like, hey, I'm just declaring this, unstoppable men. We're moving forward. What's it going to look like and shape? Don't know. But we actually have to start talking together, coming together, because there's going to be dark times ahead, and we have to, as men, and this could be for ladies as well. But I'm just going to be working with men and with talking with our group. And it's like, we need to be the strongest, hold each other accountable, and come together. Because when you are together, reckon you're strong as hell. When you're weak,
Totally. You know, it's funny you said, to me, it was such a natural fit. I've always had also just that, I feel like I was put on the world in the world to really influence men as well, because I have 3 boys.
yeah,
Right. So I have had to work on myself a lot, because they're just following my example.
they're watching you
greatest
every
impact-
second.
Yeah, even though you have a daughter, it doesn't matter, right? But
Yeah.
particularly me, when I'm like, the conversations that I have with them, you know, I have an 18-year-old son, a few
Yeah.
months older than Hanale as well. Like that was another thing that we had in common, that my oldest child and your daughter were exactly the same age when we were coming up.
Mhm.
And they were, you know, little kids, when we met. You know, I don't know, I guess we were 2, 3 years old, something like that. When we met, maybe 5 years old. So to me, like, and like you said, during COVID, when it's like, man, this is really the world moving forward is going to be a world where the strong do really well, and those that don't are not going to do really well. So I got to get strong physically, mentally, spiritually. I got to pass that on to my kids, because they're going to have to step back a lot and not get emotional and lead.
Yeah.
Themselves, or families, or friends.
Your boys need you.
They absolutely do. And I'm always having to improve, because they catch up, right? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
the personal growth where you were 10 years ago is no longer good enough for these kids, because they've already learned that. So now you got to go to the next level.
Yeah.
It's similar to when
never ending. People think that there's a never ending thing.
There's never ending. And this applies to like men that you're leading too, right? If people are looking at you, you got to keep going up, because then they catch up, and then you have nothing to teach them. So you always have to stay. That always keeps me, like, for a more understandable example, my middle son, he does martial arts, he does Muay Thai. So do I, but he's young, so he can accelerate very quickly.
Yeah.
So we're getting here, and every time I have to look back and say, I got to get better, or I can no longer be of service to him.
Yeah.
I can no longer be his training partner, because he's going to be better than me. It's a little bit of ego too, but it's mostly literally like, I have to be able to throw the football with my youngest son, who's also really into that, because if I can't get the range on the football, then I'm no longer that mentor that he has, or that coach. I need to constantly be better to be that coach. So that's a nice way to keep motivated.
And do you know how many people our age? I know so many people, especially from where I grew up and stuff, beautiful people, and I hear them, I see this, you know, I'm too old, I'm this, and it's declaring it, and it's a submitting to this of, I'm too old, this is just how it is. Bullshit. I'm 50 years old, and I had my personal best on bench pressing this year and on 291 this. And it's not about like, hey, look at me, but it's like, it's showing that it's possible, and allowing others by sharing your story that, oh, wow, I can do that too. And if it wasn't for the 4-hour work week, planting that seed that, oh, Tim Ferriss did that, I'm like, well, why can't I? And if I had not taken that step, I would have never put out those videos. You would have never saw it. Your life would probably be the same, just going along, doing corporate, this. Everything matters. And sliding doors, they open and they close. And the worst thing is just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Or I'll do it the next day. And then you look back and you're like, I'm 50 fucking years old. And where did life go?
You know, I to echo what you just said, like as these years kept passing, as I met people in their 40s and 50s who were declining, who were not living their best lives anymore, on the way down, or even passing away or getting health. You know, I had a couple of family members that passed away, and like I was reading a lot of Stoicism. I've been reading Stoicism pretty heavily, and it's really impacted. It's kind of my code. I also, believe in God, and I've kind of the sort of a core of Christianity as well, without getting too religious, but just follow that as a core belief. But then the Stoicism has really given me a code of how to operate and how to keep moving forward. And one of my favorite sayings is right here that I have tattooed on my arm is "Memento Mori," which is what they used to say in the Roman Stoics, of like, you could die at any moment. Like I may die in this moment. And that when I look at this, it reminds me, like, what if this was your last moment? Did you love your people? Did you show them the way you were supposed to? Did you travel like you wanted to? Did you take the adventure? Did you take the business risk? Because if you died and you didn't do that, and you were concerned about these little risks, but when you think about, what if I was dead tomorrow? What if I was gone tomorrow? What if this person was dead tomorrow and I didn't get to see him, and just do it and just take that next step, because all of the other stuff works out, man. We're going to look back later and say, I'm really sad about the things that I didn't do. I should have done that. We're never going to say later in life, that was too risky what I did. That was, that was too, I should not have started that business. I should not have tried this. It's going to be the other way around. We've heard that. That's Mark Twain quote, but just constantly taking that action. And once you take the risk and start, then obviously there's a lot of action that needs to be taken to have success in whatever you've started. But I think it's just the courage and the confidence in yourself is critical. And being around men that will influence you, inspire you to do that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off the tattoos, because I never got a tattoo till I was 45 years old, so 5 years ago. And every single one of my tattoos on my whole body was drawn and designed by Hanalei. So even my back tattoo, my side tattoo, and I said, I'm only going to get tattoos for my daughter. And why this matters is the gentleman called Aaron Bahia passed away 3 weeks ago. And it was from his tattoo shop. And I only went with him and his tattoo artist. So all these ones that I'm looking at, he passed away in his mid-30s. He freaking got in a bad motorbike accident in 2020, recovered. I sent the guy food for 6 months. We had fundraisers. He was coming back, and he had to get surgeries. And he was living in Bali. He goes, I need to get back to Canada. Lo and behold, in order to get back to Canada, he had to get all the shots. Died of a blood clot 3 weeks ago. Was it related? I don't know. The point is, you're never guaranteed another fucking day in your life. And there's bad shit out there, and we have to be fucking strong, not only for ourselves, for our kids. My daughter, the reason why I want to be the example to my daughter of she should accept nothing less than who I am as a father. And if I'm not the best, strongest father, and I've shared with her, is like, mom comes first, you're second. Like, you have to be able to show and set that example. You have boys, two different things. But man, we're all men here. And it's like living by I'm going to go back to the core four, living in all four of these and not being complacent, having the tools. I'm going to go for these next weeks. I'm going to be giving tools on how to do this, do the tracking on core fours, foundations, what I've lived. And I just want to, like, I have to, God keeps on telling you got to share it. There's people that need this. There's men that need this. And women need their men for this. First time I even went to, when I signed up for Warrior years ago, my wife was just like, first she's like, you're spending how much money? You're doing this? And then she's like, you fucking go. And when I told her I'm doing this, she's like, we got this going on. She's like, go. We need leaders. We need groups of community, no matter where we are in the world. Next video I'm going to be doing from this, it's going to be on the other side of the world in Bali. And I'm going to be alone, away from my wife and my daughter. But at the same time, we're probably the closest we've ever been. It's pretty wild that way. Yeah. Brother, I know you got to go for your next meeting. But
it's been awesome, man. I got a few minutes. I got till 11:20 or so. So if we need to take another like 8 or 9 minutes or so. This is one of my last weeks in corporate America. So these calls,
congratulations.
A lot of calls. It's amazing. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? You got to share. You got to spread it. You learn something. It's no good until you can influence other people in a positive way. So I'm super excited that you're doing this. You had the courage to follow it, and what you did with your family, with the agreement, the arrangement of having to spend some time apart, loving each other in that way, being selfless, and allowing your family members to experience what they need to experience right now, and have their own adventure, and you have your own adventure and your own professional endeavors, and do the traveling thing. And it's a huge sacrifice, super courageous. It's inspiring. I've written it down here as something that can work if I ever get in that situation where we have differing goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking awesome, man. It's and it takes a very three confident people that are confident in their love for each other and in their own love for themselves, that they're self-aware that that's what they need to do. It's freaking awesome.
No, and it's journey. And it's like when we did this, people are asking, how's it going? Or, what is that going to look like? It's like, I don't know exactly. We're going to go and we're going to course correct along the way.
Yep.
And what happens is it would be so easy to just say no. Like, what if we had decided not to sell all our crap? We wouldn't know each other and go travel the world. But it was that decision that was a hard one that lead to other decisions. And it's like, you're just going through. And I think one of the biggest things that over these last few years, my wife and I, we've collided probably the hardest. And I'm talking colliding, but it's a thing of not sweeping shit under the rug, because lies is a thing. It was like, you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, and it's a lie. But there's also the lies of omission, of what you don't say, of what you don't want, and don't set the boundaries. And then what happens is that you can see this in relationships, and it's happened with ours, and it still happens. We're just like, yes, until it freaking builds up. And then there's a rage, and then it's like, and my wife and I, when we're in a disagreement, we don't hit. I'm just using this as an example, but it can be like brutal, but we get it done, and we're like, great, we move on. And that's come with time and realizing that when you lie from omission of not saying of what you want, you're going to build up that. And that's what creates strong relationships. You're with, we got 50 years of relationships between the two of us. That's crazy as hell. And with, over 50% of marriages, going in divorce, kids fucking hate each other. Kids hate their parents. They're on drugs. There's so much shit going on. It's because of who you are as a person, the relationship you have with your spouse. And if you're single, just go and this is one of the other beautiful things. A lot of the people that the young guys like Nathan and Phil, like they never thought when they were coming into our masterminds with you guys, they're like, I never thought of having a family. And then I see what's possible. Does it mean it's easy and ours is rainbows and fucking no, it's fucking hard. Relationships are hard. It's not just this Instagram, Facebook, oh, look at me and I'm doing this. No, there's hard conversations. There's hard times, man. But that's the thing that you got to keep on going and realizing that we're not isolated and on an island, which I will be on an island next week. But it's like, we're here, and it's surrounding yourself with the right people, man. Well, dude, and I actually,
so true.
How do you want to put a bow on it, my man? I got to wrap this up because I actually got another big call I got to go to.
Well, I would say it would be good to whoever's listening to think about maybe what are those 3 things that you feel in your heart that you need to do. Maybe it's just one thing that you need to do or let go of or forgive or take action on that you believe can make a huge, huge impact on your life.
Yeah. The big one. That one big one.
That's right. Small one. And this in particular goes out to the men that have already done a lot of work on themselves, because I have been in that position where I've done all this work and there were those 1 or 2 little things that I was just saving for the end. One of them being some forgiveness, one of them being just like a little action. Sometimes it's just good. It's letting something go, right? Or forgiving someone. You've done all the other work, so we can disguise it. I've been to therapy. I've done the ketamine therapy. I've done the cold plunges. I've done the sauna. I do this. I read every morning. I meditate.
I've done the plant medicine.
Then why are you restless? Why are you not at peace if you've done all the work? Or have you? I am guilty of that. And maybe in another conversation, I'll let you know, a little bit more detail of how I was able to release that. But it really is, it's really easy. The more work you do on yourself to kind of put that aside.
Yeah. I want to, I think it's taking that first thing. And then what I want to do, Horacio, is I want to start giving some frameworks of some of the tools that I've used and start going through that and I got to reset my impossible game of what my next 12 months, I'm on the next quarter, and giving tools like that to where it's like, okay, this is great. This sounds, wonderful. But like, what are some things you can do today? I'll do it on next week. But it's like, just stay tuned. The thing for today, what is that one thing that like you've been putting off? And it could be in the business, could be with your relationship, it could be getting rid of your wife. It could be like, and I'm saying this, there's certain times where it's like, you have to let go of certain things, and letting go of your job, hard thing. You have security, but you're rotting inside.
Oh yeah. And
that's the freaking, you can be free, but you're a slave.
Word. That's absolutely true.
All right. And then when we'll talk about it, but it'll probably have some type of group. I don't know if we'll have like a school group. We'll start putting some things, but I wanted to take the first step, at least get this warmed up, have the conversation, and moving forward.
Well done, man. No, it's fantastic. Glad you started. Now the next step is a lot easier than the first step. It always is.
Absolutely, my brother. All right. Stay tuned. If you like what you see or what you want to see more of, do a comment. Send me a DM if you like. Send Horacio. Connect with us both. And we'll be building steam. And it's going to be a powerful year, man. So
absolutely.
Appreciate everybody.
Thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate you, Brian.
All right. Cheers, my brothers. And as always, be unstoppable.
Have a good one.